Hello everyone, my name is Marek Matejun, and at the beginning I would like to thank the organizers for the invitation and for the opportunity to present my speech at 2022 International Summit of Teaching and Education Research Association affiliated by Eurasia Research. I am from Poland and represent Faculty of Management at the University of Łódź. I am Associate Professor at the Department of Entrepreneurship and Industrial Policy. In 2016, I obtained habilitation degree, which is a second-level scientific degree in Poland. My research interests are related to entrepreneurship and small business management, modern concepts and methods of management, as well as to research methodology in management sciences. In my scientific work, I cooperate with many researchers from all over the world, for example from the United Kingdom, the Czech Republic, Belgium, or China. I am also strongly engaged in cooperation with Eurasia Research, especially with the Social Science and Humanities Research Association. I also invite you to cooperate with us. Please visit our website for further information and become a lifetime member of our affiliated associations. You can also take part in our conferences all over the world. I hope we will go back to face-to-face meetings soon. Now let's go to the main topic of my speech: the COVID-19 pandemic as an opportunity for digital innovation development in small business. The aim of the presentation is the assessment of digital innovations implementation in micro, small and medium-sized enterprises under uncertain socio-economic conditions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The speech is divided into 6 parts. First, I will shortly present literature review and formulate research questions. Then I will present research methodology and research results divided into specific areas of considerations. In the final parts, I will answer research questions, present conclusions and references. My speech should take about 25 minutes. Micro, small and medium-sized enterprises are the most numerous modern market companies identified in almost all countries worldwide based on certain quantitative and qualitative criteria. Their market success is directly related to entrepreneurship of owners-managers. Their courage, creativity and opportunity-based entrepreneurship often contribute to the implementation of innovations understood as strategic, commercially and economically reasonable changes with a significant level of novelty and originality, which significantly affect the company and/or the market environment. Very important, promising type of innovations for small business are digital innovations, which are associated with fields such as information technologies, systems, and robotics, and include such key features as novelty and originality for users, digitalization and dominance of the digital materiality over the physical materiality, and use for significant digital changes to exclude more ordinary innovations and previous solutions. In literature and business practice, we can find that the ability to implement innovations in small business depends both on internal resources and external factors, which include business environment dynamism, hostility, and also external social economic shocks, which significantly modify the conditions and prospects for small business innovations. The most recent example is the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused a significant increase in business uncertainty and a range of social economic impacts worldwide. The results of previous research indicate a significant digital transformation of small business under the COVID-19 pandemic. However, these results do not indicate the extent of implementation of digital innovations in SMEs, nor do they enable a comparison of the level of implementation of digital innovations in the pre- and peri-pandemic periods. This leads to the formulation of the first research question. What impact has COVID-19 pandemic had on small business implementation of digital innovations? Recent research also indicate a significant and direct impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on entrepreneurs and SMEs by creating both risks and opportunities for them. Many researchers recommend overcoming these risks through technology adoption and digital transformation of business. However, there are not such analyses for SMEs, nor does existing research provide in-depth knowledge on the types of COVID-19 pandemic-inspired digital innovations implemented in small business. This leads to the formulation of further research questions. Research question number 2, to what extent has the COVID-19 pandemic provided an opportunity to implement digital innovation in small businesses? And research question number 3, what types of innovation inspired by COVID-19 pandemic were implemented in small business? To answer these questions, I conducted survey research on a sample of 758 SMEs from 6 European countries with different innovation indexes according to 2020 Innovation Union scoreboard. The research was conducted in Finland and Sweden as innovation leaders, in Germany and the United Kingdom as strong innovators, and in the Czech Republic and Poland as moderate innovators countries. All surveyed companies were innovative according to 2018 Oslo manual definition, which means that all of them implemented at least one innovation during the last 2 years. The timing of research was also very important. Survey was conducted in March-August 2021, which enabled a comparison of innovativeness of the surveyed companies during the year before and the first year during the COVID-19 pandemic. The size of analyzed companies was determined on the basis of small business definition from the European Union. The sample consists of 62% of microenterprises, 27% of small companies, 11% of medium-sized enterprises companies. The respondents were mainly owners or managers of surveyed enterprises. In the first part of research, I analyzed the scope of innovations that were implemented in the surveyed companies during last 2 years. Based on respondents' declarations, it was found that all types of innovations were implemented in the surveyed companies according to 2018 Oslo manual classification. The most popular were product innovation, with the highest percentage in companies from the United Kingdom and Sweden. Process innovations were less implemented. Among them, the most popular were innovations in information and communication systems, as well as in processes of production of goods and provision of services. Innovation in sales and marketing were implemented in 38% of the surveyed companies, mainly from the Czech Republic and the United Kingdom. 34% of innovations were implemented in the administration and management area, and the least in distribution and logistics. According to respondents, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected innovativeness of the surveyed companies in various ways. I found 3 groups of companies with different impact of the pandemic. The first group are fragile innovators, 34% of surveyed companies, in which innovations were fully or mostly implemented before the pandemic. It means that the pandemic significantly reduced their innovation activity. The second group are resilient innovators, 36%, in which innovations were implemented to a similar extent both before and during the crisis. And the third group are emerging innovators, 30%, in which innovations were fully or mostly implemented during the pandemic period. In the next part, I focus on analysis of the most important innovation implemented in the last 2 years. To increase the reliability of results, study participants were asked to shortly describe this innovation and to indicate what opportunity inspired its implementation. On this basis, I received 758 statements in which respondents identified one or, in some cases, more key innovations. On their basis, I identified 48% of innovations as digital innovations, related mainly to the introduction of digital products and services, digital transformation of manufacturing processes, undertaking marketing operations in the virtual environment, or digitalization of internal processes. This allowed the assessment of the extent of digitalization of key innovations and calculate two specific research indicators. First indicator, implementation of digital innovations, was defined as the share of digital innovations in total number of key innovations that were implemented by the surveyed SMEs during the last 2 years. And the second indicator, COVID-19 as digital innovations opportunity, defined as the share of key digital innovations inspired by the COVID-19 pandemic in the total number of key digital innovations that were implemented by the surveyed SMEs during the last 2 years. The results show that almost half of the surveyed companies indicated digital solutions as key innovations. However, the value of the implementation of digital innovations indicator increases significantly by about 20 percentage points for emerging innovators versus fragile and resilient innovators. It is also directly evident from the respondents' descriptions that the opportunity to implement 25% of key digital innovations was COVID-19 pandemic. They have been identified in all three groups of companies, but in the case of emerging innovators, this indicator increases by about 50 percentage points in comparison to fragile and resilient innovators. This means that more than a half of emerging innovators companies implemented digital innovations inspired by the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. In the final part of the research, I analyzed types of key digital innovation inspired by the COVID-19 pandemic. Based on the respondents' descriptions, a total of 105 such innovations implemented by 90 companies were identified. Some companies identified more than one pandemic-inspired digital innovation. They were then classified according to the types of innovation defined in 2018 Oslo Manual. As a result of COVID-19 pandemic impact, the surveyed companies mostly implemented digital innovations in the area of information and communication systems, as well as in marketing and sales area. Quite popular were also product digital innovations in process and production of goods and services, as well as in administration and management area. What is important, values do not sum up to 100%, as the bundled innovations were identified in 73% of the cases, which resulted in preventing them from being assigned to one type of innovation only. On the following slides, you can see real examples of digital innovations implemented in the surveyed companies as results of COVID-19 pandemic. Many information and communication systems innovations were bundled with marketing and sales innovations. For example, surveyed companies were launching online stores, setting up or updating websites, and comprehensive digital marketing solutions. SMEs implemented automatic email marketing system and online book recommendation system, an online reservation system, or a virtual exhibition promotion technique. Information and communication systems innovations were also bundled with administration and management innovations. In this area, such innovations as digitalization of workplace organization, introduction of remote work procedures, home office solutions, and remote internal communications tools were implemented. Many product innovations were bundled with production or services processes innovations. They were focused on significant improvements to characteristics or performance parameters of products, mainly including adding a new or improving existing features and also enhancing usability and accessibility for customers. Real examples are changing the service provided from face-to-face to remote, changing the goods offered from physical to virtual, introducing webinars, online training, online consulting, delivering online training courses, seminars, coaching, and online training, or even transforming a consulting service into a video chat. Respondents also presented examples of product innovations. Many of them were aimed at support their customers with challenges resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. One company, for example, for its financial services customer, transformed their sales and new client management into an online system that allowed the company to stay in business during a pandemic. Other examples are innovative hybrid chief operating officer service that combines the following areas: strategy and innovation, process management and restructuring, sales and marketing in a pandemic environment. Other examples are online conferencing system, new online customer education service, or a new team-based competitive online game. Taking into account above considerations, it is possible to answer the research question. Research question number 1. What impact has COVID-19 pandemic had on SMEs implementation of digital innovation? Results clearly show that the implementation of digital innovation increased significantly by about 20 percentage points during the pandemic period compared to previous year. This confirms the role of COVID-19 pandemic as a catalyst and accelerator of entrepreneurship and small business digitalization. Research question number 2. To what extent has the COVID-19 pandemic provided an opportunity to implement digital innovations in small business? The COVID-19 pandemic represented an opportunity to implement about 25% of key digital innovations identified as crucial by surveyed companies. The role of COVID-19 pandemic increases significantly in emerging innovators, where is perceived as an opportunity to implement 55% of the digital innovations. And research question number 3, what types of innovations inspired by COVID-19 pandemic were implemented in small business? The results indicate that digital innovation inspired by COVID-19 pandemic were implemented primarily in the areas of information and communication systems, marketing and sales, product and services, and processes of production of goods or services. What is important, they were mostly of a complex and bundled nature. Qualitative analysis of their scope indicates a relatively low level of novelty and originality achieved mainly at the organizational level in the opportunity discovery context. This novelty based on existing knowledge, technological solutions, and market information that are usually available to other market stakeholders. Opportunity creation process, on the other hand, is more characteristic for the development of the analyzed product innovations, analyzed digital innovations, which are characterized by a higher level of marketing novelty. In conclusion, I can indicate a significant increase in implementation of digital innovation in small business under the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of them were directed towards dynamic interactivity between small business and market environment, which can stimulate, for example, new digital business models. They also modified the internal communication and work organization in small business through the development of remoting and work from home solutions, which can have positive effects on small businesses' performance, especially in the service and trade industry. These innovations will also inspire further development of digital transformation of small business, the creation of digital market value, and digital interactivity with stakeholders, mainly through digital marketing strategies. The current challenge for entrepreneurs is the assessment of the effects of digital innovations in small business. For example, one of the respondents stated that we implemented a new online store, improved logistics and processes. I am not yet able to evaluate the results and outcomes because all the changes were made recently. I expect higher sales compared to the last year and also higher customer satisfaction because the new solution is much more user-friendly. In final conclusion, I can state that the implemented digital innovations will significantly shape the future of small business success, productivity, and resilience in the post-COVID business reality. That concludes my presentation. Here you can see all references for the presentation, and that brings us to the end. Thank you very much for your interest and attention. I also kindly invite you to future cooperation in the area of management, entrepreneurship, and social sciences methodology. You can visit my website to find out more about my publication, scientific activity, and get contact details. If anyone has comments or questions, I would be happy to open up the discussion now. Thank you very much.